A reporter from Sarah Kamani, East Africa correspondent, on the arrest of Kabuga. Well, Sarah, welcome to the program. Speak to us. Tell us more about the arrest first and foremost of Kabuga. He was on the run for 26 years, as it were.
Indeed, he was on the run for 26 years, and so this is a victory and a landmark victory in terms of attaining justice for victims of the Rwandan genocide, the 1994 Rwandan genocide, in which close to 1 million people were killed. There has been a $5 million bounty over his head all this time, and it has been said that at one point he was in Kenya running businesses along one of the plush areas in the country. Then at one point he was said to be in Geneva in Switzerland, came back to Africa, lived in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Some people even saying that at one point he was in Germany, and now finally he is arrested in Paris. All this time there has been a lot of suspicion that he is actually in Kenya. Indeed, during his visit to Kenya, former President Obama accusing Kenya of hiding Kabuga, and Kenya denying that he was here. But a lot of people have actually lost their lives here in Kenya, those who have been on trail for Kabuga, including journalists, including security personnel, police informers. So he's left behind a legacy here in Kenya of a man who was feared and revered, but also a man who seemed to have managed to get along very well with the authorities or the powers that be at any given time.
Speak to us about the significance of this arrest, Sarah. The families, victims, and as you said, those who have lost their lives, close to those who have lost their lives due to Kabuga. Of course, indeed, if he is guilty and is involved in the killings, what is the significance of this arrest?
There'll now be only two people remaining in terms of the fugitives whose names have been out there. There were 10 initially, and now there'll only be 2 people remaining, and so this is quite significant. However, in terms of justice, we have seen that even those who have been arrested before and those whose trials have been before the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda in Arusha, Tanzania, the justice has been very slow, and very few people are actually convicted, with Rwanda complaining that the process was tedious and was not able to deliver justice for victims. But many people will want to see how this goes. Kabuga was quite an influential person. His 2 daughters were married to the sons of former President Habyarimana, and so he had connections with the then government of Habyarimana. He was a rich businessman. He controlled the media. He had actually a radio station, RTLM, which called for the extermination of the Tutsi at that time. He also is said to have began buying machetes and, stockpiling for a period of time long before the genocide started. So if indeed he's found guilty and he's brought to book, then it will be victory and a landmark decision in terms of getting justice for victims of the genocide.
So always a question again, Sarah, about the International Criminal Court, the ICC. Would we expect him to appear there? What happens now following the process, obviously, that will be handled out in France? What happens now?
Well, we understand that what will happen now, he will appear before a court in Paris, and that court is the one that will decide whether he will be extradited to The Hague, because the court in Arusha, Tanzania, the ICTR already completed its work, but most of the functions of that court were now moved to The Hague. So that is where the processes will continue. But it is important that whatever happens now, a lot of people, this sends a message, not just to